All right, it is that time. Death, taxes, and a weekly CFB show from BTB Analytics. Here we are, boys. Another week coming, another week in the books. Week 4, college football. 3 weeks have already passed. It's insane. I was trying to think, like, how would I sum up this season so far through 3 weeks? Like, do you have a word or a phrase that comes to mind viscerally when you think of the season so far, guys? Either one of you?
Overrated teams.
Overrated teams. Okay, I thought you were just about to say overrated, like in general. Like, oh damn.
No, like a lot of teams that had a lot of hype are not as good as we. Well,
Ooh.
not all of us. We definitely called some of them, but
Sure.
you
Okay.
know,
All right. That might be a little foreshadowing. We'll see. We'll see later in the show here. But yeah, 3 weeks in. Or Steve, I don't know if you had something that comes to
Uh,
mind for you.
I'm gonna say appreciate. I'm appreciative, man. Like this is we got all the
Oh,
good
look at you.
storylines. We got drama. We've got I love it. I'm just sad it's already week 4.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. Be happy it's here. Don't be sad that it's
Yeah.
already going by so fast. But yes, conference play is underway, guys. We're approaching week 4 here. Conference play is underway, so we got a lot of good games to break down. So let's jump into it. Let's start right into some Big 12 play. Why not? Texas Tech going up against Utah. From a market standpoint, guys, this one opened largely at 4, is now sitting pretty much at 3, -3 in favor of Utah now. Obviously, Seth, huge Big 12 implications in this one.
yeah.
And if anyone who's been following us from the start or saw our season preview episode as well, we are Texas Tech skeptics, we'll say, at the very least. But in this is the first week where this whole experiment is sort of meeting its real first test. So, Seth, again, based on kind of what these two teams have put on the field through 3 weeks, does Texas Tech pass the test?
I have to say I'm a little bit eating my words. I don't know if they fully passed the test, but they definitely have lived up to most of the hype. This will be the first real test, but this offense is much improved than they were last year. They're the 6th best overall passing offense and the the 22nd best rushing offense. So they're the real deal. But the other thing is Utah's also on the rise, and both these teams were at the top of the Big 12, and you've already highlighted it. This is going to be really important for the Big 12 standings. And I don't know, this could be a rematch of the Big 12 championship. So lot to offer here. The question for me for this game, our model makes this the raw number -1.5 for Texas Tech. So a little bit of value on that side, not enough for us to take action. And really for me, where I'm, wanting to see, can Texas Tech take this game and how are they going to do it? Question will be, can Texas Tech run the ball? They're right now throwing the ball about 7% more than an average team. And in my opinion, they are going to need to be going after Utah's 53rd ranked rush defense. So to me, is Texas Tech going to be willing to run the ball? Because right now they're a throw first offense. If they are, I think they could have success.
Okay. Yes. Steve, further to that point too, Seth mentioned it. The pass game for Tech has been elite. Utah's pass D is nothing to scoff at, though. This is just top 5 pass defense still, right? And they have a pretty blitz heavy man focus kind of scheme. If they can force Morton into some pressured mistakes here, like that's got to be the script for them. Generate pressure, fluster him a little bit, and then ground and pound it to a win. No.
Well, yeah, if they can do it, that's the question. If right, I mean, Texas Tech outlook. I mean, Texas Tech is an explosive offense. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? I mean, they're averaging over 50 points a game. They're 2nd in the nation in explosive play rate at just over 20%. And Baron Morton is just a man amongst boys so far through the early season here. And you've got Koy Eakin, who's really emerging as that go-to threat. He's averaging over 20.1 yards per catch this season as well. And so, yeah, you're going to need the defense to stand up, because if you don't, Morton's going to pick this team apart all day till Sunday. Now, for Utah's advantage, as much as we talk about how great Morton is, he does struggle, like you'd expect any quarterback, under pressure, right? He has 86.3 PFF grade in a clean pocket, but that drops down to 35 under pressure. And so you mentioned it, Kyle Whittingham and this Utah team, like they will blitz, and they blitz very heavily. And you're going to have to get home pretty quickly if you want any sort of chance in this game and stopping down this Texas Tech offense. Now, for the flip side of the ball, Utah's offense, I think, is something we don't talk about as much as we really should. I mean, I think we all know about Utah. We see them as this like ground and pound. They run the ball, and then they have a 60% run rate, and they're very good at it. But Devin Dampier is not getting the credit I think he should. He was my Utah was my off the numbers pick last week because this offense is just absolutely rolling with him at the helm. And for me, this is a battle of the trend of college football, the culture, the philosophy, if you will. Texas Tech is the greatest team bought in college football,
right,
going through the transfer portal. And in Utah, kind of like a Clemson, is this team that's kind of homegrown. Let's build our way up. And I do want to call out Devin Dampier is a transfer quarterback from New Mexico, but guess who came with him? The offensive coordinator, Jason Beck. So again, you have that continuity there. And so for me, it's not just this is going to be the first real test because it's the toughest opponent Tech has faced so far, but it's also the toughest opponent with continuity. And that to me is the style clash that I want to see play out here because Tech has the offense, Tech has the defensive line. We talked about in our preseason shows, but Utah is sneakily very good on offense, very explosive on offense. And they have arguably the best O-line in the country. And so really it's going to come down to who can win the trenches, Tech D-line, Utah O-line, and then which offense can really make the explosive play to overcome the other team's pretty good defense. So I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, should be really fun. It's jumbled at the top of the standings with respect to, odds to win the Big 12 here. Tech and Utah both kind of almost the co-favorites basically at this point, 3 weeks in. So yeah, huge implications, and maybe the winner of this game we'll see kind of be the odds-on favorite depending on what happens the rest of the season here. So should be a fun one. Should be a fun one. This is the early kickoff too. I think is the very early slate on Saturday morning as well for us. So should be fun. All right, guys, don't forget, please, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching us. Don't forget to comment throughout the videos. Let us know your thoughts on these games. Let us know what teams or stats you hear us talk about that you're interested in further. Don't forget to like the video. And if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. Helps us out tremendously. Keep those notifications on. You'll get the updates when we go live. And later in the show, too, we're sticking around. Don't miss it. We got our model plays cooking at the end of this show as well. All right, let's move on though. We got a few more matchups, guys, to talk about. An SEC matchup. We'll get back to the Big 12 actually, but let's move over to Auburn and Oklahoma. This one opened, at 6.5, really, in favor of Oklahoma, and it's been basically parked there since open. Not a ton of movement from the market there. Now, Steve, from a schematic standpoint or like a game script standpoint, like Auburn should run the ball, at least I think, right? Like there are number 16 rushing offense. They're okay against the D. Okay pass defense not okay. Oklahoma's, I got to read my notes correctly. Yeah. Oklahoma's pass defense is number 4. So if you want to pass it, you're playing into their strength, right? So they should run the ball. They are, however, number 70 in run rate over expected. So not a team that's really looking to run the ball a lot. Those are rookie numbers. Like they got to really look to exploit that weakness for Oklahoma in this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you gotta have to throw the textbook out here, and then maybe this is me being a drama fan or a narrative fan here, but this is the Jackson Arnold revenge game, right? I mean, Jackson Arnold got benched,
could be
under this team, and he struggled, and he is absolutely living his best life right now. So him coming back to Norman and rocking the Auburn rocking the Auburn uniform, and he's throwing over 500 plus yards. Like I know what this team should do, but I gotta imagine if you're Auburn, if you're Jackson Arnold, you want to have a hell of a game because you want to show this team, hey, you overlooked me, and this is what I can do. Now, that being said, scheme does matter, right? I think the biggest thing that Auburn has to watch out for is Brent Venables. We talked about it last week in the Oklahoma versus Michigan game. Brent Venables, despite his troubles, knows how to coach defense specifically. He's top 5 in pressure rate in the country. He's top 5 in a sack rate or blitz rate, excuse me. This dude will put the pressure on here. And so that's the one thing Arnold has to be careful about. You have to be able to scheme and get that ball out because we saw how Bryce Underwood struggled. I mean, he played as a decent of a game. You shouldn't ask him, but that Oklahoma defense is for real. And then on the flip side of the ball, it's going to be, can you have John Moneyline Mateer come back through and follow up that excellent performance that he had against Michigan? And what are they going to do, right? Is Oklahoma going to go more towards the run here, not just traditionally through their running backs here, but have more scrambles, more RPOs and more designed runs for material because he moved that very effectively. So I'm excited to see this. I'm watching this fully for the drama here, fully for the storyline, and I'm hoping for a Jackson Arnold comeback tour.
Okay, Seth. Before I bring you in here, to your point about Brett Venables and the D and scheming up stuff. So Jackson Arnold, yes, you mentioned it earlier too. Like most quarterbacks will struggle to some extent against pressure and against blitzing than if they had a clean pocket. Jackson Arnold's splits, however, are pretty dramatic. He goes from having a clean pocket, right? His completion percentage drops from 68 to 46%. He was sacked. This is last year. He was sacked at the third highest rate under pressure last year. And he was only able to generate 4 touchdowns as opposed to 8 with a clean pocket. So like there is some, to your point about Brett Venables dialing some stuff up. Like that's what I got my eye on for this matchup. So it should be a fun kind of chess match to see what they can do in that sense. But yeah, Seth, otherwise, what are you seeing, or what are you kind of expecting from the game script standpoint in this one?
Yeah, I mean, you highlighted. I think Auburn's going to need to utilize the run first. I think that's going to be the way that they're going to have success. But I also agree with Steve. Jackson Arnold's, we're going to have to see average to above average quarterback play out of him. And the question still for me against the Oklahoma defense is, have we actually seen them face a good quarterback yet? And I don't know that we have, right? Underwood being a rookie, a true 18-year-old, do we see a little bit maturity with a quarterback that's played in the SEC? And then to your point about the struggles that he's had under pressure, I would question, is that all of him, or is that the Oklahoma offensive line? Oklahoma still today, they struggled last year. They're sitting as the 74th best rush offense. And if you look at some of the film, people have pointed out, this is a team that has really struggled in non-QB runs. And again, are those problems that Arnold faced last year due to that offensive line? So I think there are still a lot of questions for these teams. They're very similar on different sides of the ball. Oklahoma is really leaning on their success through the run game. So the question to me is, if Auburn can have success there, can Oklahoma actually run the ball when they need to? That's not through their quarterback. So I think I don't know what we're going to get. Model likes this, plus 6.5 Auburn. You can get plus 105. It's too good of a number. Give it to me. It doesn't feel great. I get it. Oklahoma looks like they're on fire, but I would caution, how well has, Oklahoma, done here. They've played Michigan. That's a big win, but Auburn obviously played Baylor. When we look at the strength of schedules, they're pretty similar. Auburn has the 72nd strength of schedule right now, and Oklahoma at 59th. So yes, Oklahoma takes the cake, but not by very much. So for me, give me Auburn 6.5 plus 105.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Like I said, should be another fun one. Just period, point blank. Nothing. No need to overanalyze it from an entertainment or fan standpoint. So yeah, excited for this one. Another midday matchup. This should be fun. All right, we got 3 more. Let's talk about. We got 3 more games to get to here. So this next one for me is maybe one of the more fascinating ones of the day. Illinois versus Indiana. This opened at -5 roughly in favor of Indiana. It's kind of ticked up towards 6 now, where we are at in the market. Early going, Steve, like Indiana is again showing really strong offensive efficiency numbers. I thought they were going to take at least somewhat of a step back, kind of come down to earth a little bit. Now they haven't exactly played world beaters, and that was kind of their issue last year too, when they showed out versus the bad teams and then struggled against good defensive teams. But nonetheless, like 3 weeks in, I've been impressed. Similar though to the Oklahoma and Auburn situation though. So Illinois has one of the nation's highest blitzing and man coverage rates in the nation. And according to our data, using our numbers, they're number 13 in points per echo allowed at 2.5. So if they can generate or limit Indiana's scoring opportunities, breaking news, if they hold them to field goals instead of touchdowns, like they might be able to win the game. Yeah. But that's one thing I'm looking for here. Indiana finally having a real test against a quote unquote legit defense at this point.
Yeah, and I think that's going to have to be the scheme that you do here if you're Illinois, looking at the quarterback play. We talked about Indiana's Cinderella run last year, and I'll be honest, I was kind of a doubter about this offense going in, being led by Fernando Mendoza, and what can they really do, with work leaving out this year. But, he's been pretty damn good, both by the eye test and, by the grades here. But, one thing that comes out, like you mentioned in here, zone versus man, right? And zone versus man and blitz coverage, right? And so when you look at Mendoza's splits, he's great against zone. He has time to pick apart, but against man, especially against blitz pressure, his statistics drop dramatically. And that's what Illinois is absolutely known for. And so I'm going to see how that matchup kind of schemes up, because on the flip end, Indiana is not a pressure heavy or blitz heavy team. And I'm curious to see what that's going to look like, because while for me, Luke Altmaier hasn't looked otherworldly, he has been a pretty effective runner and a pretty effective dual threat in the RPO. And so if you want to keep Indiana on their toes, you want to keep them balanced, you're going to have to use both here. And so to me, this just seems like it's going to be kind of an ugly, classic Big Ten game. I mean, this is one of the teams where, Illinois has one of the most efficient, one of the best run games, especially in the inside zone. So can they use that to their bread and butter? Can they use that to wear down this Indiana defense and really keep them in check here? So, my fan of me really wants to see, like a 49 to 45 shootout, but I think it's going to be a relatively low scoring affair here.
I was just trying to double check. Yes, the market is over underwise. The market's at 52.5 right now. So respectable. It's actually ticked up. So this open looks like at about circa open at 49.5, but they're doing some weird stuff at open this year. But Pinnacle and Bookmaker opened at 51.5, but really has ticked up probably a couple points since open, either way you slice it. So yeah, I mean, at least early on, market has a slightly different opinion than you on that one, Steve. But yeah, I guess Seth, like, where's your heart and where's the data take you on this one?
Yeah, I mean, the data is interesting. I think Indiana still takes the cake, and it's not surprising that they're favored. Our numbers are quite similar. If we ignore the model, we like Indiana a little bit more than the market at -9, but obviously we take the market into our consideration there. You called it out. I think points per equal is quite interesting defensively, where Indiana right now is giving up 5.2, which is 119th in our database, I think, something like that. Whereas, Illinois only giving up 2.5 points per drive. So the question for me is, what's going to go on there? Because that doesn't feel really great, especially when you called out who Indiana has played. And so concerns there. And Illinois obviously has had the harder schedule up until now. So I won't be surprised if Illinois can pull this out, but we've seen this kind of over and over for the last year. Indiana is able to handle business where they have talent numbers that are very equivalent to them, and Illinois very much fits that mold. And it's when they play the blue chip teams that Indiana really can't seem to compete. And so I think that's
talented teams, if you will.
Yeah, the more talented the team, that's when really Indiana seems to struggle. But if they have parity there, they do seem to be able to dominate those teams. So I think that's what the model's picking up here. It's not enough value for us. But yeah, I mean, I think this could be a really good game. I'm really excited for this. And I don't know. I mean, the defenses, have they really, the data we have so far, are they really encompassing against good talent? And I wouldn't be surprised that the offenses do click, but the defenses can't keep up. And we do see some version of a shootout. I wouldn't necessarily be so surprised, because I think both of these teams are engineered to score points.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, it should be, shout out producer Eric, it should be a fun environment too, because this is the first time ever, it sounds like, that Indiana is hosting a top 10 team. So they're going to be showing out for that one. So it should be a fun environment. So yeah, big implications, Big Ten. I'm fascinated to see how Indiana shows out in this one. So all right, guys. Yeah, let us know what you think in the comments, please. We got a lot of games talking about. We want to hear from you, what you're thinking, what your mental models are saying, how we can kind of juxtapose that from what our data is saying, and how we're thinking about these edges and angles as well. Don't forget to like the video if you haven't already, and make sure you're subscribed and have those notifications on. You'll get the ping every time we go live, breaking down these games, breaking down our model, breaking down our data. So, all right, we got a couple more to break down though. Two more, actually. Let's head back to the Big 12. Why not? And this one, kind of an open-ended question, but like for ASU and Baylor, that's where we're going here. ASU and Baylor, another Big 12, big implications rather for the Big 12 here. Which team, Seth, like wants to be taken seriously? is kind of my question in this one. Baylor, had that close win against SMU. Was that 1 or 2 weeks ago? I forget. ASU, kind of the preseason conference darlings, if you will, ranked number 11 or 12, whatever it is. Now all of a sudden they're unranked after that loss to Mississippi State. So they've been hot, they've been cold, and Baylor too. I just can't get a good read on really either of these teams. So what's your assessment here on this one? Because the loser of this one is by all accounts out of it, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know about that. The Big 12 is wide open, but I can see what you're talking about when we have Utah and Texas Tech as they stand. It feels like it's far away. I mean, obviously Kansas State has fallen from grace, and if you want to, I can definitely get behind. They're out for sure. This is ringing just Baylor SMU 2.0, but I think ASU is just better defensively than SMU, and Baylor, for all intent and purpose, was just begging for SMU to win that game, and SMU was just begging for Baylor to take it from them. And it finally did. They finally did in overtime. But I just don't think that that's what ASU is going to do here. But I do think it's going to be somewhat of a shootout. Baylor has kind of looked unimpressive on defense. Arizona State, yes, had that kind of blunder of a play against Mississippi State, but we're pretty, I guess, relatively high on Mississippi State. We think that the market came in quite low. So when we look back on this loss, I don't think it looks the same that maybe we think about it right now. I mean, Arizona State takes the cake in pretty much every category. They're just a little bit better on both sides of the ball. And I think the wrong team is favored here. Arizona State plus 2.5, I think, is great value. And I think it's just because of that. They're just a little bit better everywhere.
All right, Steve. Yeah, you scoffed at me when I said the loser of this team is out of it here. So it's
the first game of conference play.
Hey, never too early to bury somebody.
I mean, Texas Tech or Utah is going to have one loss in conference play, and then so will Baylor and ASU. So I don't know. I think that's kind of crazy for me, but I see what you're saying. I guess for. This is going to come down to a couple of things. And we talked about this Baylor offense and Sawyer Robertson. And when this dude is on, he is on, throwing for 440 yards and 4 touchdowns and that absolute lightning of a game against SMU, even though it didn't work out well for us. But, the thing that's been Baylor's Achilles heel when we talk about defensively has been the run, and specifically the running quarterback, but just stopping the run in general, right? We talk about how often they play too high. We talk about them not be able to stack the box and getting shredded for it. And for me, if I'm Baylor's defense, I'm concerned with one main player from the receiving end and then trying to figure out the run here. So let me back up for a second. ASU has a glaring weakness on offense, and that's the heavy reliance on wide receiver Jordan Tyson. Now, dude's an absolute stud, but he is by far their only consistent receiving threat whatsoever. ASU as a team has 527 receiving yards. Jordan Tyson has 314 of those. Jordan Tyson has more receiving yards by himself than the rest of the team combined. So if you stop Tyson, you stop the passing attack through and through. The problem is, like we just said, Baylor's weakness has been stopping the run here. In ASU, they don't do it a lot in terms of them actually running the ball, and their run rate over expected, but they're pretty damn good at it when they do. And so for me, that's the one thing I'm trying to see what happens in this game here. Can they actually go through and run the ball against Baylor and take advantage of their weakness here? Looking at some of their metrics, they're 14th in rushing grade, They're 7th in yards per carry. They're 4th in missed tackles, and they're 1st in explosive run rate. And so these are all the things that you can take advantage of if you're ASU to beat Baylor, because that's the playbook. It's already been produced for you. That's how you're going to expose this defense. So if they're going to try to force Sam Levitt to be that dude and throw the ball 30, 40 times. Yeah, I can see how this game could be a toss-up here. But if they say, hey, listen, we're going to have a balanced attack, and honestly, probably leaning more towards run than pass, and take advantage of Baylor, get them into run-stopping coverage, and then beat them over the top, that to me is the key of how ASU can come out of here successfully. But win, lose, or draw, I don't think either team's Big 12 hopes are over just yet.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, you might be right. But I might be right too. Well, no, we'll see.
To your point, Steve, an interesting stat that is like just hones in on what you said. All of the offenses that have played Baylor know this. They are 119th in our database with a 10% run rate over expected on defense,
Right.
meaning teams are running at them. They are looking at tape. They are seeing they're seeing what you're seeing, and they're saying the way to beat up this team is to run the ball. And to be frank, SMU just kind of ignored that. Like, they seem to throw the ball a lot. So I'm with you here. I think it's a clear weakness, and it'll be interesting to see how ASU exploits it.
Yeah, the only other thing I wanted to add too, I'd be curious to see what Baylor does to try to exploit Arizona's defensive averageness, if you will. So they're not world beaters by any sense.
No.
ASU does have some injuries in the secondary that we've been monitoring, that I've been hearing scuttlebutt around. So they're down 2 QBs, and their starting safety is now ruled out for this game already. So they'll be playing with some backup guys, and is that something that they try to situationally expose as well? So, but yeah, as far as the market and the over under goes, this is larger. This is sitting at about 59.5, opened at around 58. So slight tick up to expecting a little more points, if you will. So,
but is ASU's kind of thesis is blitz, right? And we saw that's how they lost that the Mississippi State game. Their guy fell down. So I don't know. I mean, right? If they get home, doesn't matter, right? You don't need safeties or corners. But if you don't, even if you got them, it doesn't really matter, right? The wide receivers are going to be open. So I don't know if those injuries actually play that big of a role. And if you're running the ball so much, I mean, possessions are going to be,
they listen,
at a premium.
Yeah, if they listen, if they follow the data, then they will scheme accordingly. Alex, how do you think Tyreek will do? Oh man, you got to hold that question till the next show. We're talking about college in this iteration of the live, my guy. But I don't know. No comment on Tyreek Hill.
But at 7 p.m. Pacific, we'll be talking about NFL. So stay tuned, Alex.
Yes, keep those noties on. All right, we got one more game to get to. Don't forget, guys. Though at the end of it all, we're going to be talking about our model plays as well. A relatively decent size card again for us this week. We'll talk about what happened last week and give you all the breakdown for the coming week as well. So before we do that, though, let's hit one of our last games here of the weekend slate. Michigan going up against Nebraska. This one's I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this one. So this, from a market standpoint, opened at -1.5 and is now -2.5, largely in favor of Michigan. Matt Rule, for all of us who love trends out there, Matt Rule straight up winless against ranked teams since he's been at Nebraska. 0-6 in his Nebraskan career there. And for Nebraska, like I don't know if there's any other path to success here, Seth, other than they need to just unleash Mahomes Jr. and Dylan Raiola, or get run the hell over by Michigan. Nebraska's D is very elite, but their run D is absolute dog mess. 126 in our database in defensive rush EPA allowed. So if they are going to get behind the chains, if they're going to allow Michigan to run them over, then game, set, match, in my opinion.
Look, game, set, match before that. It's his alt season, baby. We're here. I mean, yeah, you can unleash him, but I don't think it's going to matter. You talked about it. How are you going to stop Michigan? Number 1 ranked pass defense for Nebraska in our database, 122nd in the Nebraska Cornhuskers run defense. What do we think that Michigan's going to do? They're going to run the hell out of the ball. This is a team that is already comfortable doing that. We saw that in the Oklahoma game. They're going to dominate this on the ground. I think kind of a la maybe Penn State, Michigan 2 seasons ago. I really don't see how they can keep up. Now, Michigan themselves, they're the 54th best pass defense, 23rd best rush defense, but Nebraska 45 in passing offense, 102nd running. The only option they have is Raiola. And I just don't know that that's going to get it done here, because what I'm concerned is with the 122nd rush defense for Nebraska, they're going to run the hell out of the ball. They like to run the hell out of the ball. You're going to have to do something about it. You're going to have to blitz. Does now Underwood, step up, and we're going to see him kind of have a coming out party, at least at times in this game. So it's really, really hard for me to see a pathway, and the numbers support this. Our raw model number is -11. I love this on the alt line, -6.5, +165 over at ESPN Bet. It's alt season, baby. Michigan, go blue.
Go blue, damn. Yeah. So like I mentioned at the start, the market has ticked towards Michigan. Hasn't hit the 3 yet, but still moving in their favor a little bit. So raw number is -11. So 6.5. Ooh, doggy. This sounds fun. So what did you get at 6.5, or what's the best number you saw?
I didn't shop it too heavily, but 165 at ESPN bet.
Plus 165 at ESPN bet. Okay. All right. All right. Steve, I guess it's our favorite season, man. Alt season. Yeah. I mean, is that like, is there any reason to not support this?
I mean, I'm not going to go crazy, but I mean, if you want a game script or you want a scenario where this wouldn't be all season, I think you're going to have to lean on how good can Nebraska's secondary be. Seth already mentioned they have the number 1 pass defensive EPA against the pass in the country. Now, to be fair, a lot of that is because they may have played weaker opponents so far, right? So let's not go too crazy on the stats here. But the only way you do that is by relying on your corners, shutting down Michigan's receivers, and then stacking the box against the run. But we've already seen Nebraska struggle with this in the dual threat quarterbacks, and the running thing is just, it's too good to pass up. I mean, this is the game where you're going to have to get Haynes going in the backfield, and I expect a lot of running plays for Bryce Underwood as well. I mean, it's just the recipe to beat him, right? The only thing I can potentially see is if you're Nebraska, I mean, you talk about unleashing them, you're going to have to rely on explosives, which is never a good strategy going into a game, having to rely on something that's so inconsistent, right? But I mean, let's not discount, let's not discount Dane Key. Let's not discount Ja'Cory Barney. Like Nebraska has dudes at the receiver slot, and they're going to need them. They're going to need to win one-on-one to be able to make some sort of plays here, because if you're Nebraska and you can score fairly quickly, then you put the pressure on Michigan. Now they're running the ball. Maybe you get them out of that run heavy. Maybe you keep them a little more honest with a balanced approach. Otherwise, I think this game has the potential to get pretty ugly pretty quickly without it. So we'll see. And you already mentioned, I mean, trends are trends, so they're not. But I think you already said it right. I don't think Nebraska's won a game against Michigan since 2013. They're 0-27 against top 25s. Like, just all the things that you want to hear that don't bode well for Nebraska. But hey, we'll see.
Yeah.
Hey, one question I have though is Dylan Raiola's powers directly related to Patrick Mahomes? I mean, we've seen the Chiefs have a down year this year, and is this the time where now Raiola's powers are also fading away?
We'll see how much he's willing to commit to the bit. Yeah, if he's going to struggle in this one, then I'm sold. He's just trying to cosplay as Mahomes for the rest of his life.
I don't. He can have a good game. I just don't know that they can get in a shootout. Even if he has a good game, is this possible? One of the things that stuck out to me is their echo rate. Their echo rate over expected in our database is 128th. What that means is even in their Akron and FCS games, what they did against those teams was not remarkable. It was average. Like an average team would have done what they did. So we're not giving them credit for that. And in fact, our numbers are saying that basically that Cincinnati game, they kind of sucked. So I'm really concerned that Michigan just does whatever they want, however they want. And like you said, this is a compounding problem. If you get run on for 2.5 quarters, all of a sudden those explosives start to explode in your face. And so I don't know if can Raiola have a good enough game to win a shootout.
Yeah, no, it's a fair call. Yeah, I guess we'll see. But to your point earlier, like Michigan, I think knows what they need to do here. They're 28th in run rate over expected, so they're already in the mindset of wanting to run the ball. And they're aware of this data as well. Like they're gonna do it until proven that it's not gonna be successful.
Agree.
So should be. Yeah,
all season, baby. 165.
Okay, all right. Everyone loves a good all season. I don't know why.
It's also just regular season -2.5. Grab that too. You know what I mean? Like throw it in the bag.
Yeah, and or 1.5 if you were lucky enough to get it when we gave it out. Yeah. Shout out. We'll talk about that in a minute. But okay, yeah, should be a fun one as well as part of the big Saturday slate. A lot of good conference games on the docket this weekend too. So, all right, guys, before we get into the model plays, let's jump over. Let's talk about a little bit of let's get back into our friendly competition mode for a little bit here. So, talking about off the numbers, best picks, best plays of the week from each of us that we give out. and we're going to be tracking it all season long. So right now, top of the leaderboard, you and I, Seth, 2-1. Seth or Steve got in the win column finally, 1-2 after last week's pick. So let's jump in here. Give our picks for off the numbers. Steve, since you got your first W, man, let's why don't you start us off? What are you leading off with this week?
Yeah, listen, I don't need the charity. When I come back and beat your ass, I'm talking all the shit. All right. Wait till we get to the NFL show. All right. Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm going with for me, I'm taking a little bit of getting a little cute here. I'm taking Maryland plus 6.5, first half, minus 115 in FanDuel. And here's my logic. Wisconsin looks out. Yeah, first half. Wisconsin looks absolutely horrible. And then to be fair, Billy Edwards Jr., starting quarterback, got hurt. They're relying on Danny O'Neal. That's a switch that nobody saw coming, and they're trying to adjust there. But this is a team that had 3 first half points against Miami of Ohio. They did a little bit against Middle Tennessee, but that was really off of turnovers, right? So sudden change. And then we saw what happened. They got shut out against Alabama. Who got dog washed by Florida State. So I'm not sure how much that actually means here. But I'm looking at this team here. They're just a notorious slow starter teams. And this is one of the things where when you look at the box score versus watching a game, you see 2 completely different stories. If you're just looking at the final score, you're saying, oh, well, actually, Wisconsin's kind of putting up points here and they're doing whatever. But, to their credit, what they do is they just grind these teams down by running the ball over and over. And then they kind of break out late in the second half and the fourth quarter. And so I'm taking excuse me. I'm taking Maryland, who we're high on over season on the win total. They have a lot of talent going on there. They have a lot of good things going on there. I think they keep it close here, plus 6.5 first half.
All right. Well, I'm rooting for you for what it's worth. All right. I'm not. I ain't trying to dog you. I am.
Oh no! Don't backtrack now. Oh.
By chance, did you see how you covered that game last week?
The Utah game?
Oh, the Utah game? Yeah. What?
Oh, like it was like the last play of the game, or like there was like 30 seconds left, and you scored on a meaningless touchdown.
Wait, but I'm sorry. Did I cover?
You covered.
Yeah, okay,
no, you covered.
Okay.
You covered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Win to win.
No, but
and score one
by
for
the skin of your teeth.
Whatever. Hey, still in the win column, baby.
Yes,
okay. Hey, all good.
All right, Seth. What you got next, man? What's your pick? Best play of the week here?
It was all season last week with Vandy money line. That was pretty much easy the whole way through. And we're going back to the well. We're going all season again. I gave you my thesis. I talked you through it. Michigan 6.5 minus plus 165, baby. I got to get started getting credit for taking this plus money.
Well, if you hit 2 in a row, then yes, you will. But
but only if I hit 2 in a row. I got what? I hit a plus 170 last week. That counts as one, huh?
Well, I guess I took plus money week 1 or week 2, whatever it was. UNLV.
Okay. All right.
I would say start by putting the odds in the show notes so we can keep track of it. I'm just assuming these are minus once it ends.
Might help us.
I am going against myself. I do like the Maryland pick though. I'm not gonna lie. I think we're gonna probably take that if we can get a 10.5, 110. I think we agree. I think the model really likes that. Fuck it, give it to me.
Let's go. All right, then I'm not. I'm going a little off script here. I'm not using the model as my backbone here. I don't know, Steve, you did, but shout out to you. I'm going back to the Auburn and Oklahoma game though. I am taking the under in this play. I like under 48.5. I got that minus 113 over at Bet Rivers. We talked a little bit about it already, but I'm leaning into the fact that I think the game script is going to be as such. Auburn knows they are leaky against the pass. They should run the ball. They should try to attack that relative weakness for Oklahoma. And I'm betting quite literally on Venables' ability to generate the pressure and really fluster Jackson Arnold and get him out of rhythm. So I think Auburn's ability and willingness to run the ball plus Venables' defensive masterclass that is imminent here. I like the under 48.5. For what it's worth, I'm not quite buying at the bottom, but like this opened at like 51 and has been bought down a little bit. Kind of gives me some pause taking it where it's at, but yeah, I don't know. I like the game script. So
for that's where I'm at. Purposes, like a low total is below 50.5. So this is like considered a low total game. So I like the thesis.
Yeah. So, all right. So, like I said, I'm 2-1. Seth, you're 2-1. Steve 1-2. So we got this going all season long. It's early, baby. It's early. So we'll keep it going. Oh, Dixieland Delight. Oh, we got some Dixieland Delight in the comments. Let's go.
All right. I don't know if we can post that comment on our YouTube live, but we definitely agree.
We definitely agree. Yeah. Gives Brandon, shout out. We do want to give credit where credit's due, and for what it's worth, like I was saying, I took UNLV plus money line a couple weeks ago, and
they were -2.5, weren't they? +2.5. I mean,
no, they were. What were they?
Yeah, UCLA was plus.
It was like plus 125 that I got. Nonetheless, credit where credit's due. Okay. All right. Well, you guys know what time it is. We talked about the games. We talked about off the numbers here. There's only one thing left to do. Let's talk about the model. Yes, sirs. All right, you guys know the drill. You do this long enough in this space, you bet recreationally, professionally. Winning weeks will happen, losing weeks will happen. We are unfortunately coming off a losing weekend in college football. We were 12-8 going into it. We are now still technically a winning record at 14-13 overall. But yeah, nonetheless, we're on the wrong side of we'll call it variance this past weekend. But we're back in the saddle, and that's what you absolutely have to do when you have a model, when you have a quantified edge. You find the value, you bet the value, and you move. So that's what we're doing. We're going to keep doing here. So we got a pretty good card again, Seth. So why don't we talked about a couple of them already earlier, but let's roll through the card and see what we got for this week.
Yeah, definitely. So we got a big card, and we've actually had a lot at open and then a bunch of moves in the middle of the week. So we're at Temple plus 23.5, Auburn plus 6.5, plus 105. Would not play that at the current numbers. I think that's now gone. Unless you can get a +7 later in the week at 110. BYU -6.5, Vandy minus 26.5, UNIT plus 1.5, West Virginia plus 12.5, Liberty plus 11.5, Michigan -1.5, Air Force plus 9.5, Arizona State plus 2.5. Big card. There's a couple that might come into range later in the week that we might bet, Maryland being one of them.
Yeah. So I think we sent most of these out on Sunday or Monday to our subscribers. Like I said, 14-13 overall. So still sitting relatively favorable. There's going to be, again, weeks where we on the right side of things, weeks where, we'll be a little under that as well. But
seven plays last week, 7 closing line values. We had a 16% edge in the Florida game. We were on the right side. Lagway decided to throw a meaningless interception where we could have kicked the field goal and cover.
Decided to throw
variance. Yeah, but I honestly, give me 4 of them. I just need that last one to kick the field goal, right? We got our money in so good last week, and really that's what it's about, is because how do you know you have an edge? And that's why I want to just point that out really quick, because you're going to hear that narrative, like get back on the horse, and you just got to keep betting because you have an edge. How do you know you have an edge? Well, remember, you're betting into a marketplace. If you buy Tesla stock and Tesla stock goes up, you made money. That's the only thing we have in sports betting, is the closing line value, to know that we made a good bet. All of our bets for closing line value, we printed huge edge. That we got a 9.5 in that Florida game and closed at 6.5. We had like a 16% edge in that game. And you're right, variance is the answer of why we lose. But when we look back on why we think we have an edge, how we know we have an edge, that's how we know we beat the market.
Yeah, and that edge, that CLV is not like, oh, we had a CLV last week and blah blah blah. We've had CLV every single week in college football and NFL. Going back last year, over 150 bets in college, over another 80 in NFL, ending both of those leagues with positive CLVs and a winning record on top. So, but yeah, I mean, your CLV is your North Star, and that cannot be understated. So good call out, Seth.
Speaking of CLV, BYU, we called it out here. 6.5. You're live in this right now. I think this 6.5 will not last. I think this got to 7. I think we saw a quick buyback so we can get big liquidity down on that 6.5 number. I would grab it now before it moves. It's going to move.
Ooh, is that the first live bet of the season?
It's not a live bet. We already bet it. I bet it, I don't know, maybe yesterday or something like this, but it came back into frame. When the market opened, it was 6.5. We were about to bet it. It moved to 7.5. The market's moved it back down to 6.5. Now is the time to buy it. It will not close at 6.5, in my opinion.
Before our listeners, I think this is the first live bet that
for them.
Gotten.
Yeah. Get on in. I think that 6.5 flies. What else? A lot of it, pretty much everything else we bet is gone. Some better numbers for West Virginia. You can get 13.5. We got a 12.5. Pretty much everything else, I think, has moved.
Yep. So the process is sound, is what you're hearing. Yeah. So we're gonna have losing weekends. Everyone does. Everyone will. Nothing to scoff at. So we are all good, ladies and gentlemen. So, all right. boys and girls, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Don't forget, if you haven't already, please like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure those notifications are live too, so you'll get the pings, you'll get the updates when we go live, talking about the games, talking about our edges, giving you guys some good takeaways to bring into the weekend that is to come. So that's it, man. That's it. Week 4 is on the deck, boys. So looking forward to this conference, looking forward to the conference play weekend. And yeah, looking forward to a big slate of games for our model. So hoping to be on the right side of that, coming back next week, talking about another winning weekend. Until next time, boys and girls, it's been real. Good night. Good luck.
All season.
See you.
Let's go.